Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Leanne Sanders. Lloydminster RCMP are looking for help from the public to find a suspect wanted in a sexual assault. It happened back on January 29th at a business in the city. Police say the suspect reached over the counter and assaulted the victim, who is a minor. RCMP described the man as between 65 and 75 years old, around 5 foot 6 inches tall, with a medium build and short gray hair. He uses a blue walker and is missing fingers on his left hand. Anyone with information is asked to contact RCMP or Crime Stoppers. Lloydminster City Council has approved a new art piece, Into the Mystic by Mick Clausen. The Lloydminster Public Art Advisory Committee proposed the project in September 2022. Fast forward to today, and the $21,000 steel sculpture has finally gotten approval.
Council a couple of years ago by a local artist that suggested that we look at an art policy. And we sent it back to administration, and that policy is in place today that was approved. Certainly we're trying to encourage art. We have art in various formats. Today we saw steel sculpture art. In the previous we saw some faces. Some other artwork from that perspective has been around the city.
Lloydminster is seeking more artists to come forward to add more diversity to the city.
It's certainly open to any artist, but there is a process that needs to be followed. And there's a great committee of volunteers, as well as city administration and city council member, that help to oversee that policy to ensure that everyone has a fair opportunity to contribute. And we look forward to the city growing our art.
The sculpture is planned to be in Messam Park at 53rd Ave and 26th Street. The city is commemorating Black History Month this February by having a youth event in schools across the city. Our Leo Cruzat has more.
Thank you very much, and good morning.
The Lloydminster Local Immigration Partnership kicked off the Black History Month event in the Comprehensive High School this morning.
I think I'm feeling very, very excited. I think we're going to be having over 350 students who will be doing it in this school.
According to Ben Aquay, one of the focuses in this year's event is to acknowledge the achievements of the Black community and their heritage.
It's wonderful to celebrate success. It makes people feel good, and it encourages these young students to go out there and make a difference in a very tough world.
While Aquay says Black History Month is about the contribution of the Black community in Canada, he also addressed ways for students to tackle the big issue of racism in schools and in the community.
Instead of the emphasis on the bigotry and the prejudice side of it, let's talk about some of the systemic issues in education, in healthcare, in housing, even in the legal system. And the more students and young people understand the systemic nature of the problem, the better prepared we are to advance solutions that would work.
The school is also taking action to help students understand the issue in the community.
Inevitably and unfortunately, it does exist in society. We can't turn a blind eye to that. So we engage in opportunities like this to educate our students, to educate our staff, to educate the community in how to manage those, how to have some of the difficult conversation, to build understanding as to what racism is and how it rears its head in society and what we can do about it.
The event will go until the 14th of February with a total of 8 schools participating across the city. You can find more information in Lloydminster Local Immigration Partnership for this event. From Primetime Local News, I'm Leo Cruzat.
Lloydminster Sexual Assault Services has released a new youth online risk assessment aimed at understanding how youth navigate online spaces. Our Ben Loan talked to the Community Initiatives Director to find out more.
I'm here today with Heather Sinfield, who works with the Lloydminster Sexual Assault Services. Heather, thank you so much for taking some time today to talk about this really important assessment you guys have created.
Absolutely.
So first of all, what is Lloydminster Sexual Assault Services?
So we are a nonprofit organization that has been a part of the Lloydminster community for over 40 years. We celebrated our anniversary in 2023. We provide direct services to those impacted by sexual violence, harassment, exploitation, family violence, other types of bullying, things like that. We provide a wide variety of programs and services to a 200-kilometer radius into both Alberta and Saskatchewan.
Heather, how did this youth online risk assessment come to be?
So I'll tell a little story. We were funded for a 3-year federal grant through the Youth Justice Fund from 2020 to 2023, and we were focusing on youth who displayed sexual behaviors or sexual offenses within families and communities. And we were supporting youth and families for those 3 years. And what we found is that there was a noticeable increase in influences in terms of virtual spaces, online worlds that were affecting how youth were treating other people, the beliefs and behaviors and attitudes towards their bodies, towards intimacy, towards relationships and dating. Those kinds of things. And so as we started to dig deeper, we were also noticing that a lot of our clients were coming in struggling with these topics too. And so not only at the youth range, but we were seeing parents and caregivers saying, I don't even know how to have some of these conversations with my youth, with my kids, whether it's about social media and apps, which is an ever-changing phenomenon, whether it's about pornography or gaming. There's so many unanswered questions and changes and growth within that.
And what are some of the goals that the Lloydminster Sexual Assault Services have with this online risk assessment?
The assessments are live until the end of March. And our goal is to have 2,000 submissions in total. So, we have pop-up stands that are throughout the community to engage members to come in and take the assessment or participate in a game with an opportunity to win swag, to learn more about us, and then some social media awareness and campaign pieces to it as well to engage folks online too. From there, our research team, which is comprised of 4 individuals, will look at all of the data and pull together a community recommendations report. And this report will give feedback, insight into what Lloydminster youth and families truly need to have open dialogues about virtual spaces and the challenges and possibilities within it. We also have funding sources that will submit that recommendations report to create sustainable funding and programming based on what we find in the data. So keeping everything within Lloydminster, keeping everything within the hands and minds of our families and youth, but trying to make some accessible program opportunities for healing and wellness.
And Heather, are there any apps that you and your team are really focusing on to learn more about?
I think we could all probably have a few in mind, but we made the assessments broad enough because we want to hear what is directly impacting youth and families and parents first before making any assumptions about maybe what's going on or what impacts. We want to hear from folks first. So I think when we start to look at the data in April and May, it's going to be really interesting to see what comes out of that and what's truly impacting.
And Heather, COVID had a big impact on a lot of things in our city. How did COVID affect the youth of Lloydminster?
I think just from a general perspective, not isolating youth, but I think just in the field of sexual violence, there has been absolutely an increase in online sexual violence and harassment. We're spending, COVID allowed us to spend more time in virtual spaces in whatever that kind of looked like, which just created opportunities to learn from it, but also to maybe engage in things that weren't okay.
And Heather, what would you want people to know about this new youth online risk assessment?
Everyone's voice truly matters in this. So whether your kids are 2 years old or you're a grandparent and your kids are all grown, we all have some knowledge to share with this. And the more diverse perspectives this survey can collect, the better we're actually going to be able to represent and support our growing generations and our families. So, I get so excited every time I get an email notification that a new assessment has been submitted. So I guess I'm asking Lloydminster to continue submitting those because it's been, not quite a week. Excuse me. But it is exciting to see that there are participants and folks that are interested in supporting this project.
And Heather, thank you so much for taking some of your time today to talk about this new risk assessment that can be really beneficial to the youth of Lloydminster.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for hosting us and sharing the information about this project. Folks can check us out on our website, all the information about the research team, the funders, the project objectives, everything is on there, as well as some facts and research, which is great. So check it out and learn a little bit about it.
Alberta Premier Danielle Smith is facing growing calls from within the medical field to re-examine her proposed gender-affirming care policies. Alberta Medical Association's Child and Adolescent Psychiatry section says it sees the pain that arises from gender dysphoria. In a statement, the group said, "We are fortunate to live in an era where there is clear scientific evidence supporting safe and effective treatments for youth that alleviate their suffering and save lives." It's asking the Premier to reconsider the proposed policy and collaborate with experienced professionals. King Charles III's battle with cancer will pull him away from public life, but today he was seen waving to well-wishers. Here's CTV's Jill Makashon.
For the first time since his cancer diagnosis went public, King Charles was seen in a motorcade waving at crowds gathered at Buckingham Palace. This news that has shocked the world appears to have also shocked his family. Arriving on a red-eye flight from the United States, Prince Harry was whisked to the King's home in the back of a black SUV. The visit between father and son said to be the first in months. It was only yesterday the palace made the announcement. 75-year-old King Charles III has cancer. The type has not been revealed. This is the second public diagnosis for the king in recent weeks. He left hospital only last Monday following a procedure for an enlarged prostate.
The palace has been remarkably open here because in the previous reign, getting information about people's health was quite difficult.
On early morning radio, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said he is in regular contact with the king.
This has been caught early, and now everyone will be wishing him that he gets the treatment that he needs and makes a full recovery.
Downing Street later clarified the Prime Minister was simply noting the swift intervention of the King's medical team. Less than 2 years on the throne, King Charles will need to step back from public life, focusing on his core constitutional duties. William, the Prince of Wales, is expected to take on a greater role for his father, along with Queen Camilla. Catherine, Princess of Wales, is still recovering from recent abdominal surgery.
Prince William has not yet issued a statement on his father's diagnosis, and while there is speculation of a royal reconciliation in the family, it is unclear if the two princes will meet at all during this trip. Jill Makashon, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Abby St. John joins me now, and the weather, Abby, a little bit more of the white stuff to come, I hear.
Yes, we're going to experience some snowfall over the next few days for sure. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. But right now, you know, we saw a decently nice day out today, a little bit more sunnier than the past, even yesterday. So that was always nice to see, and still lower temperatures as well, -5 currently, with the wind chill feeling closer to -12. So we're still, you know, in those lower double-digit numbers with that wind chill, of course. So that's always nice. I'm glad we're still at that point. 19-kilometer-per-hour winds as well. More temperatures across Alberta, -5, also out in Marwayne and Vegreville and Edmonton, -6 in Provost, Wainwright, Vermilion and Bonnyville, -7 in St. Paul and Lac La Biche, and -10 out in Cold Lake. On the Saskatchewan side, -12 up in Isla Cross, -5 in Pierceland and St. Walburg, -7 in Green Lake. Meadow Lake is sitting at -9, -3 in Macklin, and -5 also out in Maidstone and in North Battleford. Overnight tonight in North Battleford, it will just be at -5 this evening. Low clouds, but they'll start to break as the evening goes on. 20-kilometer-per-hour winds, however, so will be quite windy out tonight. And then tomorrow, a daytime high of only -1. However, there's a 96% chance of some snowfall. About 5 to 10 centimeters is predicted to accumulate over the course of tomorrow. 17-kilometer-per-hour wind, so it is going to feel colder than that -1, but it's still not a bad bad spot to be at regardless, but definitely be cautious if you're driving, of course. In Cold Lake overnight tonight, it will be -9, 11 km/h winds and cloudy, overcast cloud coverage. And then tomorrow, about a 44% chance of some flurries in the morning, but otherwise it will just be a very overcast day out with a daytime high of -3. Wind speeds not too bad at only 9 km/h. And then here overnight tonight in Lloydminster will drop down to -7, low clouds as well, so it will definitely be cloudy, 15 km/h winds. And then over tomorrow, at 6 a.m. it will be -6, 13 km/h winds, and then around noon there's about a 40% chance that we'll see some flurries intermittently, -4 as well, and then that -4 will remain till around 6 p.m. And then it'll be at -5 for our overnight temperature for tomorrow. And then over the next 3 days, like I said, there's that chance of snow, mainly later in the afternoon. On Thursday, there's a 96% chance of some snow accumulating about 5 to 10 centimeters with a high of -3 and a low of -8. And then on Friday, we have a 65% chance of some morning snow with a very cloudy day with a high of -4 and a low of -15. That is a first look at your evening weather forecast. I'll have more overnight temperatures later on in the show.
Welcome back. With Premier Danielle Smith opening an Alberta office in Ottawa, the Mayor of Cold Lake is hoping the city's taxation dispute with the federal government will get new traction. Primetime Local News sat down with Mayor Craig Copeland to talk about the city's years-long battle over taxes owed on the land occupied by Four-Wing Cold Lake.
We saw Premier Danielle Smith open an office in Ottawa this week to promote Alberta priorities. And Mayor Copeland, I understand that the Premier had asked for priorities from the various municipalities with regard to the federal government and any agreements they have with the federal government. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so what was happening is all of the municipalities in Alberta were given um, a memo asking them to sort of release federal contracts that we have in all the municipalities with the federal government. So the city did that. One of the most significant, things like RCMP and then service agreements with water rights, water, pipelines going through your municipality that serve the federal government or its entities. But one significant issue for us, of course, is the outstanding taxes that are owned by the federal government for the city of Cold Lake. It's a long-standing issue that's been outstanding since 2013. And with the Premier opening up the office in Ottawa, which is fantastic, that'll give us an opportunity to message that to the people that will be working that Ottawa office to try to get that file opened up and see if the federal government wants to pay their fair share of property tax for the city of Cold Lake.
The city of Cold Lake has had a long-standing and still ongoing issue with regard to taxation owed by the federal government with relation to the Cold Lake Air Force Base. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
It's called payment in lieu of taxes. And so the federal government gets municipal tax notices whenever they have federal property in any municipality across Canada. In this case, of course, you've got the Four-Wing Cold Lake, amazing piece of property. And our property assessor, gives the federal government the value of what we feel the land's worth. And the federal government decides maybe, we're not going to pay all of that amount. And so each year it's an outstanding, well over $1 million outstanding each year that the federal government decides not to pay. And we've been challenging the federal government, like I said, way back for many, many years. And it's in front of the federal courts now. And we're just hoping that the Premier, we've given the Premier our document on all of the different agreements that we have with the federal government. And we're hoping that they can help us lobby for a fair share in property tax.
Mayor Copeland, what are you hoping will come of your fight with the federal government?
We just want everybody, you treat all the ratepayers equally, right? And that's really the essence of all of this is that all ratepayers should be treated equally, whether you're commercial, residential, or government. And we're just asking the federal government to pay their fair share. Certainly, the assessed value is extremely reasonable considering the assets that Fort Wing have over there. If this was in the United States, the value of that base would be amazing. It's nothing to slight the men and women that work for the Canadian Armed Forces. This is with the bureaucrats in Ottawa that we're just saying, pay your fair share. This happens across Canada. We're not alone. It's just that our council and our administration have carried this forward. Many municipalities just say, okay, it is what it is. But we kind of are standing behind our principle and continuing to challenge the federal government on paying their fair share.
From what I understand, it is a fairly significant amount of money that the federal government owes. Can you tell me how much?
Yeah, absolutely. Not only us, it's well over north of $14 million owed, but also the education portion. So everybody sees that on their property tax. There's an education component on your property tax. And so that also is a missing chunk. And we have to ask the provincial government to forgive that missing dollars each year. So we write to the Minister of Education, and they always, from the province, always guarantee our request. And so we have this outstanding education part too that's it's building. It's unfortunate. We want everybody, that money works up about $1.1 million, $1.2 million missing in our budget each year. And when you're only collecting like $22 million in property tax each year, that's a significant amount of money.
Mayor Copeland, thank you for your time today. I do appreciate it.
Okay, take care. Okay, bye.
The Lakeland Rustlers women's volleyball regular season is nearly complete, and the Rustlers are gearing up for another exciting ACAC championship. To take a look back at the weekend that was, here's our Thomas Wildman.
The Lakeland Rustlers had a two-game homestand against the Northwestern Polytechnic Wolves. They began the weekend with a dominant win, grabbing a three-set sweep, including a 25-6 first-set win. Heading into Game 2, the Rustlers were once again ready to play, starting the game with 7 straight points. The Rustlers continued to play well and led to a 25-12 first-set victory. In the second set, the Rustlers had some early struggles, but held on to the lead at all times and were able to grab a 25-17 victory. And for the third set, with some substitutions in, the Rustlers once again held on to the lead and never let go, winning the third set 25-12 and completing their 15th three-set sweep of the season. Emma Jeffs was player of the game for the Rustlers, her first time getting a home player of the game award.
It's crazy. I wasn't expecting it at all. Yeah, it was really thrilling.
Jeffs drew into the lineup due to some injuries with the starting lineup, and head coach Austin Dyer was impressed with her play in the game.
She jumps really, really well. So she gets off the floor quick and has a pretty high touch. And so with her speed and springiness, her ability to hit balls in transition is real good. And then she's got a real fast arm on top of that. And so able to score a few times in transition for us, and then got a couple stuff blocks on top of it. So yeah, it was a real good game for her.
With only 2 games left in the regular season, the Rustlers are also preparing for the ACAC playoffs and possibly heading to another national championship.
We've really been working on our offense, just like being able to pass the ball so that we can hit it. We've been working lots on defense, making sure our serves are effective.
The Rustlers will look to hold on to their top spot in the ACAC North standings when they take on the Olds College Broncos and the St. Trojans at home to finish off their regular season. Thomas Wildman, Primetime, local news.
Now time to take a look at all of the pet pictures that you've been sharing with us for our Pet of the Day.
We want to see your pet. Send photos of your pet and their name to have them featured on Pet of the Day.
I'm back at Border Paws Animal Shelter for another edition of Pet Project, and today we are in the free roaming cat room, and we are showcasing Nutmeg, this adorable cat. He tell me about his story. He came in with another cat as well. That's not a bonded pair, but would wouldn't be awful if they went together.
Yes. So Nutmeg came in with her sister Turmeric, and actually a daughter as well, but her daughter has since been adopted, so now these two are looking for a home. It'd be nice for them to go together, but they're not like really reliant on each other, so we're okay with them going to separate homes. But as you can see, they're pretty loving. They can be a little shy at first, but they warm up very quickly, and they've really come out of their shells since coming to the shelter and actually like enjoy affection from people now. So
yes, well, as you can see right here, and then I was also petting Turmeric earlier, and she leaned right into me. She picked the spot she wanted scratched, and she leaned herself into it, which is awesome. Can you tell me a little bit about their personality? Are they good with dogs? Other people? Are they more playful?
They definitely love attention from people, and they're good with other cats. They're like loose in our cat room, so volunteers can come hang out with them. Really great with kids. We haven't dog tested them, but I think with a calm dog that was respectful of their space, they would be totally fine. And a lot of the time, they can be seen lounging in here on the scratching post, and they really like the little hammock thing there that they can hang out in as well. So yeah, pretty well-rounded and really sweet cats, especially with the kids. So they would love a family with kids or somebody that will give them extra cuddles.
Yes, they are truly very affectionate, like all the cats in the free roaming cat room, especially this. You said that they're really, he's really good with kids. Any age range be fine?
Yeah, my kids are really young, and they've been excellent with them, and they don't seem to shy away from kids. So I think as long as they're getting attention, they would be very happy with a home with kids.
I think the biggest telling is that he's been in your arms this whole time, and really the only time he's moved is to lean into me to get pets. So it just attests how calm he is, and how trusting he is too as well.
Definitely.
Now, very exciting, the new dog kennels are being installed. Tell me how that process is going and what the general public should know about hours of operation and how that works.
So the staff is still here from 8 to 5 throughout the week to answer phone calls. So we're answering phones from about 12 to 5. We can still do reclaims. We're still letting, if you want to volunteer by appointment, as long as you let us know ahead of time. And then with the dog kennels, they just came in and started building them today. So they're kind of sorting through all the pieces because it was a really big shipment. And now they're starting to actually set them up. So we're really excited to see how they look once they're up. And I'm hoping by next week you guys will be able to take some videos of what they look like. But it's going to be a game changer for our staff, just like for cleanliness and being able to sanitize, and also the mental stimulation of the dogs. It'll be a little calmer for them because they'll have more of a visual barrier. So I'm really excited for that.
And you also mentioned that some of the kennels are catered to different dogs' personalities, more covered if they're a little bit more, reserved, or open if they, do love attention and all that. So I think it's going to be very beneficial for the dogs, especially.
Definitely.
Now, same question as every week. I understand that there was a recent birth here at the shelter. Very adorable. I've seen a lot of pictures of the babies and the mama. So you are in need of some things for dogs specifically. So any donations?
Yeah, so we are looking for specifically wet dog food. If you are able to donate any cans of wet dog food from one of the local pet stores. We had 3 puppies that were born last week, so they're growing like weeds, and their mom needs some extra nourishment to make sure she's able to give to them. So yeah, we definitely are in need of wet dog food. If you can find it in your budget to drop them off, we would be so appreciative.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining me. And I've lost Nutmeg, but
having a snack.
Yes, he's a little famished after being a star. But he really is the sweetest, and I know that he will make the perfect addition to any household.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery, downtown Lloydminster.
Well, it's an exciting day here at Primetime Local News in Lloydminster. I have a special guest, Terry Cahill, joining me. Terry, thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. How's it going, Lloydminster? Good afternoon.
Well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, as you said, Terry, and we are so excited that you are bringing. For those of you who don't know, Terry is very famous for Fubar 2, and just for being really Terry and hanging out with Dean, you know? So let's talk about what you're bringing to Lloydminster.
Yeah, well, actually, it's like my old lady Trish. Some people might know her from the second Fubar 2 there. So Trish and I and my blood cousin Shank, we're hitting the road. We're going around Western Canada, and we're coming up to Lloydminster there, and basically like we're doing sort of like it's kind of like Fubar in the bar. It's like a little story from our life, like for me and Trish, that we're gonna kind of like recreate a little bit in the bar there with you guys. And so in the story, there's like, Trish really loves to sing, like she's got angel wings in her voice. So we're gonna bring the karaoke machine and sort of do a little like live like story then, and we're gonna get the audience to kind of help us out. Like we're still kind of working it out, but like we might be like, hey, who can play our neighbor? And we'll get a buddy up to be our neighbor or whatever. Like,
Well,
yeah,
I wondered about that, if there was going to be a chance for the audience to get involved, because obviously your fans, I'm sure, would love to be part of this.
yeah, like we might even gun a beer to see who can do it quickest, something like that. Like, we're pretty loose. Like we're there to really crank it up and just have a good time with the folks, meet you guys, see your mullets, like maybe there's some cool rides we can look at, that kind of thing.
Well, everybody's excited to have you come to the city. And for those who maybe have not had a chance to see Fubar, can you just give us, I guess, kind of the Coles Notes version of what Fubar, the
Sure,
movie,
like
is?
yeah, it was a while ago. Like basically, it was a documentary. They followed me and my buddy there around, and it was kind of a sad story. Like the filmmaker kind of, we were horsing around near the river, and he kind of croaked there. So that's kind of, if you ain't seen it, I just ruined it for you. Like that's kind of the part where people are like, holy cow, I can't believe that happened. And we just kind of like, they followed us with these cameras, and we were just kind of giving her the whole way through. And like I said, my buddy there, he had a little bout of the cancer, and so that's in there too. And a lot of camping and just having a good time too. And it played way back at the Sundance Film Festival down in the USA. So that's kind of where it first played. And Canadians are funny, because we were trying to get it seen and no one really was paying attention. And then the Americans are like, hey, this is hilarious. And then all of Canada's like, yeah, we know, that's us. So that's
Well,
kind of what happened.
this is quite a long tour that you're going on. You have quite a few dates planned. So did you ever think at this point you'd be taking all of this on the road and all across Canada?
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's high time, That's what I mean. Like a lot of people write me and they're like, hey, Ter, looking forward to meeting you. And I've been kind of like the human mascot for the Calgary Flames. So I'm at the Dome all the time, and people are so stoked to hang out. And then a lot of people are like, hey, we're not able to make it to Calgary. What are you going to do, Ter? When are you going to come party with me? And I was like, soon. I kept saying soon. And then before I knew it, I was like, why don't we just do it all at once? Like, let's just give her. Like, so this is like the first leg of our tour. That's a professional thing. It's called a leg. And, we're going to do other legs down the road. Like, folks in Fort Mac are choked because I ain't on that list. I'm like, I'm coming. Don't worry. Just be patient, And then out east, like all the Ontario folks are like, get out here, stat. So this is actually the first leg. And I'll have to say also about the show, we do kind of like a gift exchange thing, like where you trade gifts, and we got wicked prizes we're giving away. Like we're going to give away some of my Giver Terry Mac jackets. These are like custom built, last you 50 years. You can win that. And then this is like my buddy Tron from Fubar. Hold on, it's a little reflection there. That's Tron. It's a skateboard.
Awesome.
We're gonna give away some of those. Like Tron passed away, so rest in peace, Tron. But these are like some pretty special stuff, because you never know when I'll be back. So we're gonna crank it right up and make it really count. You know what I mean?
Well, and is there a chance for your fans to meet you guys after the show, you and Trish and everybody, maybe get some photos and that sort of thing?
Yeah, my blood cousin Shank is going to be there too. I think there's like a meet and greet before if you want. Like it's a couple extra bucks, and we're going to hang out before. And then, we're around, like we're not too picky. Like if you want to come meet us, don't be shy, Some people are like, oh, Terry, I seen you, but I didn't say hi. Like, don't be like that. Just come give her with me, I'm out there to give her with you, That's why we're doing it.
Well, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. And if anybody's looking to get tickets to the event in Lloydminster or anywhere else, where's the best place to find them, Terry?
Yeah, it's called Diamond Mine Agency. Like maybe you can put it up on the bottom there. It's a Diamond Mine Agency. They're good guys. This guy Brandon's kind of helping us out. So there, and I think, you know, maybe by the time this goes to air, I'll put up it on foobar-themovie.com. So it'll be there too. You can even just go to foobar-themovie.com.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much for joining me today, and we will see you when you come to Lloydminster March 30th at Cheers.
Yeah, my pleasure. We'll gun one together, all right?
Awesome. Sounds perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah. Ow, 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 ow.
For the first time, the NBA will play on glass. It's going to happen later this month at the All-Star Weekend in Indianapolis. A state-of-the-art video LED floor will be used for the skills competition, the three-point contest, and slam dunk competition. The floor is essentially a giant TV screen under the players that shows replays, stats, and other real-time information and images. The actual All-Star game on February 18th will remain on a hardwood court.
I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I think, you know, visually, it'll be interesting to see how it looks.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest test. I can't really say, I have mixed opinions about this idea, but I think it's really cool for their all-star games and their, you know, those fun little competitions that they do. Definitely don't think I would appreciate if that was a live
Yeah,
game,
it might
like
be
an
a little
actual game.
disconcerting, right, for the players to be running down and there's stuff going on
And
beneath
it's
their
annoying
feet.
to the people who are watching too. Like, it's cool for the competitions, but for an actual game, I think I just get distracted too much.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I'm not impressed with Regina's weather to see their bare streets. So
Yeah.
thanks very much for joining us. Have a great evening.